With the Ellis team at RE/MAX, it's a family affair. Always call the Ellis team, they'll handle you with care.
Hello and welcome to the Future of Real Estate. I'm Brent Ellis of the Ellis team at RE/MAX, and it's that time of year again when we start to worry about hurricanes here in Southwest Florida. So, as top agents who have been around for a while, we've been through a lot of hurricanes. We want to share with you some useful tips. We're going to take you out in the field and show you some really neat stuff that I think will really prepare you. And it's not stuff you'll find probably anywhere else. So anyway, here's our hurricane tips. We're going to start out with a couple of them here on the screen. Before I get started though, I want to talk to you about 2004. That was the year Hurricane Charlie hit here, but we were also affected by Francis, Ivan, and Hurricane Jean. And if you look at Southwest Florida right here, obviously Charlie hit right here. And then we still, these hurricanes aren't a single dot on a map. They encompass several hundred miles, sometimes 1,000 miles of hurricane or tropical force storm winds. So, it pays attention to be wise this time of year. These things can come up. They can come from the Gulf, and they can come from the Atlantic, and it can get busy. This hasn't been a busy year, but it can get busy really quick. So you just never know. Always pays to be prepared. Here's some tips for sellers. Remove for sale signs. You don't want those to become projectiles. Back up your computers and unplug computers and move them to higher ground. And that works for sellers, that works for anybody, even commercial offices. That's a good idea. Here's some tips for the public. Identify your evacuation plan up front. Call relatives, let them know where you're going to be. That way there's no question, because we could lose phone service. Have water for 3 to 5 days, definitely. And we recommend having some dry food, maybe some peanut butter, not necessarily frozen stuff unless you've got a generator and power backups, because all that will be useless after a day or two if you don't. And plenty of batteries. We're going to take you on site, show you some of these tips as well. If you've got babies, make sure you have formula, diapers, all your medications, gas for the generator, fill up your car with gas. Make sure you learn proper use of your generator. We're going to share some tips here in a few minutes. And if you live in a mobile home, probably just leave. Mobile homes aren't that safe. And storm surge, you got to worry about storm surge. And we're going to cover that in a little bit here, So we'll come back to this. Today's a warm, muggy day, but we're going to take you out to a property and kind of share with you some great tips out in the field. So come on. After a storm, communication is vitally important. What I want to share with you today is a $10 high-definition indoor-outdoor antenna that you can buy. I bought this at Walmart. Basically, I have no cable set up to this TV. I can hook this up after a storm because chances are a cable is going to be out. And I can view all the local stations, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, even the college channel, FGCU, and stations from Tampa, Sarasota, all the way down, in the area. So I can get a lot of information. It's great entertainment for the kids, and it keeps you in touch with what's going on, vital information you may need to know after a storm. Okay, after a storm, you're going to lose electricity in most cases, so it's good to have a way to cook food. I recommend a nice propane grill. This one has a side burner, so you can put a pan on there and cook various things, and then you can cook whatever, stored meats, anything you want, you can heat up. Works out pretty well. Just be sure that you have extra propane tanks, because you can boil water with these things. You can cook all your food in your freezer. You don't want to let that go bad, and you can cook for a week or so if you need to, and even more. So definitely think about getting a propane grill and gas, and even a charcoal grill would work too if you've got plenty of charcoal. Okay, I want to share with you how we do some of these outdoor shutters. At this particular home, we've got the see-through Kevlar shutters, and it's important to get these things to go down ahead of the storm, because sometimes gook will happen, or creatures, frogs will be kind of up in there, so this is always kind of dangerous, and they don't always come down at the same rate. Maybe the left side will come down and the right one won't. Always good to do this ahead of the storm. So this is how this works here. Pretty effortlessly, really. Okay, the nice thing about the Kevlar, these are actually bulletproof Kevlar material, and they'll protect the whole screen enclosure. But what I really like about these is you can see out of the home in a storm, because A lot of times when you put all your shutters up, the home gets very dark. When you lose electricity, you don't have a lot of way to see in. These are great for people who are claustrophobic. You can see out, see what's going on in the storm, and still be fully protected. So as you can imagine, the typical yard and the typical lanai has a lot of stuff on it. When a storm is approaching, you want to make sure you go through your yard and your lanai and bring all that stuff inside the enclosed area. If you've got hurricane protection on your lanai, definitely bring it inside your lanai. Otherwise, bring it inside your home, because you don't want that to become a projectile and do damage to your property or to people, either yourself or your neighbors. Okay, this particular home is equipped with a couple different kind of shutters. On the lanai, we've got the Kevlar shutters where you can see out. This is a sliding type shutter, which is real easy to do. You can slide it like this, lock it into place, and then push the button. And there it's locked. So it just takes a little finagling with. Now, I'd highly recommend you locate the keys before you do this. Otherwise, you've essentially just locked your house window closed, and then you won't be able to see out for a while until you get a locksmith out. Okay, one of the things you're going to want to do to prepare for the storm is to have plenty of flashlights. We've got various types of flashlights here, and you're going to want to have batteries for all of them. So we've got our AA batteries. A lot of the electronics today run on AA. We've got a whole set of D batteries, C batteries, flashlight batteries, 9 volts, and then a whole assortment, because as people walk around, you don't want to get injured walking around in the dark, and it can be dark during the storm and certainly after the storm. The other thing is we have our NOAA weather radio, which is real nice too, because then you can kind of get alerts during the storm as to what's going on when it's passed. The last thing you want to do is go outside if the eye is going over your house, and not knowing that, hey, there's another fury of the storm coming over here in about 15-30 minutes. You won't be caught off guard. So having that NOAA weather radio is very helpful as well. Okay, one of the things I want to talk to you about is getting your generator prepared before the storm hits. Obviously, you want to have plenty of gas, and you want to gas up just before the storm comes, because gas today has ethanol in it, and ethanol can actually separate from the gas and cause a lot of engine damage. So you don't want to keep gas for too long. Some people say up to a year, other people say even after a month. I highly recommend getting a product like Stable. Just an ounce of this thing in a gallon of gas can protect that gas for up to a year. So it's a way so it won't gum up your engine. One of the things you always want to do is check the spark plug, make sure your generator is running yearly. Actually, you should probably do it several times a year. I like this particular generator, and we've got a few generators, but this particular generator has they call it a petcock, but it's basically a shutoff. So when I've got gas in the gas tank, when I shut that off, it takes about a minute to run the gas out of the carburetor. Then there's no gas that's going to gunk up that carburetor or engine later on. And then all I can do is I can siphon out after the storm. If I'm not going to use a generator, I can siphon out the gas back into gas cans and put it in vehicles. But it's a good way to protect your generator, but be prepared ahead of time. Change your oil at least every year so it doesn't get all dirtied up, and always check your spark plug before the storm comes, not after. It's too late after. That generator is going to come in real handy if you have an outdoor refrigerator, even an indoor refrigerator, but you can power them both. It's so nice because, have water, all the bare essentials you might need in a hurricane, even beer. Now, I would tell you, it's always nice to have a beer after you endured a hurricane, but beer will dehydrate you, so make sure you've got plenty of water on hand. Enjoy your beer, but make sure you have plenty of water. I always recommend bringing your vehicles all the way back in your garage to rest up close to the garage door. They say that the garage door is typically the least amount of protection you have in a home, and this way, if forces are coming in, at least your vehicle provides protection if that garage door were to breach. A lot of experts will say it's pointless, that doesn't work, but I always say, hey, even just every little bit helps. Even though the experts don't agree, it's something I always do. This particular home has a basketball hoop, and a lot of people don't think about that. So I would recommend, if a storm's coming, either bring that in your garage. If you don't have room, lay it down in the yard so it's less to blow around and hopefully not blow into somebody's house. I'd recommend before the storm you really watch out for like coconuts on trees, because those things can fall off in a storm and become projectiles. So if you've got a 110-mile-an-hour wind, your home may stand up to that, but is it going to stand up to things flying into the home at 110 miles an hour? And coconuts are a perfect example of something you definitely want to think about. One of the tools I highly recommend that you think about is getting what they call a sawzall. And basically it's a reciprocating saw. This is very handy after a storm. I had a client take down this whole pool cage that had kind of collapsed on the back of his home. And this thing, these blades here, you just turn this on, you can saw through wood, metal, pool cages, just any junk you need to cut through. Let's say you're trying to come out your front door or your back door and you can't get out, you just saw through this and you're good to go. They make them in electric, so you'd have to hook up to a generator. They also have battery power packs you can use. The other thing I recommend is getting like an axe or a hatchet to go maybe up in your attic, because if we do have rising waters due to storm surge, you may want to go up in your attic, and if the waters come up high enough like they did in New Orleans, we haven't seen that here, but you may want to be able to hatch your way out. An axe would be nice, but you only have so much room in these attics, so maybe a hatchet would be good, and you basically bust your way out and you just kind of go up onto your roof. That's a worst case scenario. We've never seen anything like that I know of around here, but always good to be prepared just in case. Well, we hope you found those tips useful. You know, it's taken us many years to accumulate that knowledge, and we love sharing that with you. For a complete list of these tips, you can go to our website, which is topagent.com, and we'll have a complete checklist. We'll have all the tips we shared with you on video and more. Plus, if we find some links to the newspaper or TV stations that have some great tips, we'll put them there as well. So just simply go to topagent.com, and it'll be a one-stop source for some great hurricane tips, and we hope you found it useful. You've been watching The Future of Real Estate, presented by the Ellis team at RE/MAX, and thanks for tuning in.
With the Ellis team at RE/MAX, it's a family affair. Always call the Ellis team, they'll have